After the fire dies down in the wood stove and the ashes go cold, most folks shovel them into a bucket and carry them out to the trash without a second thought. I am going to show you today that you have been throwing away one of the finest cleaners there is, a free one made by your own fire that will scour your pots bright, cut grease that no spray will touch, clean the soot off your stove glass like magic, polish your metal, and even soak up a spill and kill an odor. The ash from your wood stove. And the reason nobody tells you this, the reason a thing every household once knew has been forgotten, is the same reason behind everything I show you. There is a whole aisle of bottles at the store that would go unsold if you knew your own fire made a better cleaner for free. Here is the truth about wood ash that the cleaning products company has no reason to share. When wood burns clean down to fine gray ash, what is left behind is rich in a mineral the old folks called potash, and that potash is alkaline, the very opposite of acid, and alkaline is exactly what cuts through grease and grime. Mix that ash with water and you make a mild lye, a natural cleaning solution that has been used for thousands of years and is, in fact, the very thing that soap itself was first made from. And the fine ash on its own is a gentle scouring powder, soft enough not to scratch, but gritty enough to scrub away burnt-on food, soot, and tarnish, and it drinks up grease and odor besides. So, in that cold gray ash you shovel out and throw away, you have a scouring powder, a grease cutter, a polish, and a deodorizer, all at once, all free, made by the fire you already burned. Our ancestors knew this and wasted none of it. We forgot it, and now we buy 4 bottles to do what the ash did for nothing. My name is Gideon Baylor. I am Amish, and I farm here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. We heat and cook with wood, as we always have, and that means we make ashes every single day of the cold months. Buckets and buckets of them. And those ashes do not go to waste in this house. They scour our pots. They clean the glass on the stove door. They polish. They deodorize. And the last of them goes back to feed the garden. Nothing is thrown away that can still do work. I am going to show you the whole of it today, every way we put that free ash to use. And I am going to be very careful about the safety, because mixed strong with water, ash makes lye, and lye is caustic and can burn you if you are careless. I am going to show you the easy ways first, the gentle scouring with damp ash that anyone can do safely, and then the stronger lye water for tough grease, which asks for more care. I am going to walk you through each, slow and plain. And I am going to be honest and very plain about the safety, because this is the one topic where I must be, since strong ash lye is caustic, and there is one kind of pot you must never, ever use it on, and one kind of ash you must never use at all. There is also one thing, one detail about which ash to use that is the difference between a fine, safe cleaner and a batch that could harm you or do nothing at all. And almost nobody is told it. Stay for that part especially, because with this topic, the safety detail is the most important thing I will say. Here is what you need, and it is about as free as cleaning has ever been. The main thing is the ash itself. Clean, cold, fine gray wood ash from your stove or fireplace. You need a way to sift it, which can be an old kitchen sieve or a piece of window screen, to take out the chunks and any bits of charcoal. You need a metal container with a lid to store it dry, and I will tell you why metal in a moment, for it is a safety matter. For the scouring, you need only a damp cloth or sponge, and for the stronger lye water, you need a bucket, some water, and, this is not optional, rubber gloves, and something to protect your eyes. Cold, fine wood ash, a sieve, a metal tin to store it, a cloth, and for the strong work, gloves and eye protection. That is the whole of it. Now, here is the detail I promised, the most important thing today. So listen as close as you ever have, because this one is about your safety. You must use only clean ash from plain, untreated wood. Hardwood is best. You must never use ash from wood that was painted, stained, treated, or pressure treated, because that ash carries the chemicals from those finishes. You must never use coal ash. Never use the ash from charcoal briquettes, and never use the ash from those manufactured fire logs, because all of those carry chemicals and things you do not want anywhere near what cleans your dishes. Only the ash of plain, clean, untreated wood, the ash of a natural log burned in your stove. That is the rule, and it is not a small one. The wrong ash carries poisons. Clean, untreated wood ash and nothing else ever. Get that right, and the rest is simple and safe with care. Get it wrong, and you have made something harmful. So know your wood and use only the clean ash. Now, the easy way first, the gentle scouring, which is safe and simple and where everyone should start. You take your cold, sifted, fine ash and store it dry in your tin. To use it, you dampen a cloth or sponge, dip it in the ash so it picks up a little, and scrub. It is a mild abrasive, a gentle scouring powder, and it is wonderful for a great many things. The finest use of all, the one that will amaze you, is cleaning the glass window on a wood stove door. That black baked-on soot that no spray seems to touch comes right off with a damp cloth dipped in ash, wiped over the glass, and buffed clear. The ash is exactly the right gentleness to cut the soot without scratching the glass. It scours burnt food from the bottom of a pot, cleans a greasy pan, brightens a stained sink, scrubs a grimy cooktop, and polishes dull metal and tarnished silver to a shine. A little fine ash on a damp cloth, rubbed and buffed, takes the tarnish right off. For all of this, damp ash on a cloth is gentle enough to be safe and effective, though it is still alkaline, so if your hands are sensitive or you're scrubbing a long while, wear your gloves even for this. Scour, then rinse well, then buff dry for a shine. Now the stronger work, the lye water which cuts grease that nothing else will but, which asks for real care. So here we slow down and put the gloves on. When you soak ash in water, the alkaline potash leaches out into the water and makes a lye solution. And the more ash and the less water, the stronger and more caustic it gets. There are two ways to make it. The simple way: stir a good amount of ash into a bucket of water, let it sit some hours so the ash settles to the bottom, and then carefully pour off the clear liquid from the top. That liquid is your lye water. The old way, which makes it stronger, is leaching. You put the ashes in a barrel or bucket with small holes and a bed of straw or cloth in the bottom, and slowly pour water through the top so it trickles down through the ashes and drips out the bottom, carrying the lye with it. Either way, you get a brown lye water. For cleaning, you use it diluted. A splash in a bucket of wash water makes a powerful grease cutter for a greasy floor, a filthy workbench, or a soot-blackened hearth. You wear your rubber gloves the whole time, you keep it off your skin, you protect your eyes, and you rinse the surface with plain water after. That lye water will cut grease that defeats any store spray. But it is caustic, and it must be respected. Now, I have to give you the safety in full, because this is the one topic where I will not skip a word of it. Lye made from ash and water is caustic, alkaline enough to burn your skin, and especially your eyes. The stronger the worse. So, Always wear rubber gloves when handling the lye water and protect your eyes. And if any gets on your skin, rinse it off right away with plenty of water. If it gets in your eyes, flush with water at once and get help. Keep the lye water well away from children and pets, and never ever store it in a bottle or cup that looks like something to drink. Keep it labeled and out of reach. Here is the one about pots, and it is important. Never use ash lye on aluminum. Lye attacks aluminum, eats at it, gives off a gas, and ruins the pot. Use the ash and lye on cast iron, steel, glass, and stone, but never on aluminum. Never mix the lye water with other cleaners, for mixing cleaners can make dangerous fumes. And here's why I told you to store the ash in a metal tin and not a paper bag or a wooden box. Ashes can hold a hidden live ember far longer than you would believe, a whole day even, and a hidden ember in a paper bag or against wood can start a fire. So you store ash only in metal with a lid, and you make certain it is cold all the way through before you ever bring it inside. Cold ash, clean wood, gloves for the lye, never on aluminum, never mixed, stored in metal. Honest is always better than careless, and with something caustic, careless is how people get hurt. And let me be honest about what this does and does not do, as I always am. Damp ash scouring is gentle, easy, and safe, and it does a beautiful job on soot, grease, burnt food, tarnish, and dull metal. The lye water is strong and cuts heavy grease that nothing else will, but it is caustic and is for the tough jobs you are willing to glove up for, not for an everyday wipe down. Neither one is a disinfectant the way a sanitizer is. Ash cuts grease, scours, polishes, and deodorizes. But if you need to kill germs on a surface, that is a different job. And ash is gritty and a little messy, and not for delicate or polished finishes that could scratch. Know what it is: a free, powerful grease cutter, scourer, polish, and deodorizer from your own fire. And you will put it to use every day of the burning season. Now, let me give you the deeper uses and the troubleshooting, because there is more to wood ash than scrubbing a pot. It is a fine deodorizer and grease absorber. Sprinkle dry ash on a grease spill on the garage floor or the driveway, and it drinks the oil right up. Sprinkle it in a musty corner, a smelly bin, or the bottom of the outhouse or the compost, and it absorbs and neutralizes the odor. It cleans up after a fire or a greasy mess like nothing else. For polishing, fine ash on a damp cloth shines silver, brass, glass, and metal, rubbing away tarnish and film. And here is the deepest truth of all, the thing the old folks built their whole household cleaning around. This very lye, the strong leached lye water mixed with fat or grease, is what makes soap. True soap, the bar soap, and the soft soap our ancestors made every spring from a winter's worth of saved ashes and fat. All the cleaning power of soap begins with exactly this ash and water. I will not make the soap today, for that is a careful craft of its own and deserves its own video, but know that the cleaner in your stove is the very root of soap itself. For the troubleshooting, if your scouring paste is too gritty and you fear it scratching, sift the ash finer through a finer screen and use a lighter hand and test on a hidden spot first. If the ash is not cutting the grease, your scouring is too gentle for the job. Step up to a stronger leached lye water, gloved for the heavy grease. If you get streaks on glass after cleaning, buff it dry with a clean cloth after rinsing. If your lye water seems weak and does nothing, you use too little ash or too much water. Leach it stronger, more ash and less water. Or pour the water through the ashes more than once. And the old folks had a way to judge the strength of a strong lye for soap making. They floated an egg or a potato in it, and when it floated with about a quarter-sized piece showing above the surface, it was the right strength. For cleaning, you want it weaker than that. So dilute it down. And remember, when you have used what ash you need, the rest is not waste either. Wood ash is good for the garden in moderation, sweetening sour soil and feeding it potash, so the very last of it goes to the ground, from the fire to the cleaning to the garden, nothing thrown away. Let me tell you more about making good ash in the first place, for the quality of your cleaner begins at the fire. The best ash comes from hardwoods burned hot and cleaned down to a fine, pale gray powder. Oak, maple, ash, hickory, the dense hardwoods give a richer ash than the soft, fast-burning woods. You want it burned all the way down, fine and gray, not the half-burnt black chunks of charcoal which you sift out. And it must be cold, truly cold, all the way through, before you handle it or bring it inside, because I cannot say strongly enough how long a bed of ashes holds a hidden live ember. A pile of ashes that looks stone dead can hold a glowing coal deep inside for a full day and more. And that is why every year houses burn down from ashes shoveled into a bucket and set in the garage or on the porch. So you let your ashes sit and go cold a good long while. You shovel them into a metal bucket with a lid and never anything else, and you set that metal bucket on bare ground or stone, away from anything that can burn, until you are certain it is dead cold. Then it is ready to sift and store and use. Good, clean, cold hardwood ash is the foundation of every use I have shown you. Let me also walk you once more, slowly, through making and judging the lye water, since it is the strong cleaner and the most useful to get right. To make it the simple way, you stir a generous amount of your sifted ash into a bucket of warm water. Warm water leaches better than cold, and you let it stand for several hours or overnight, stirring it now and again, then let it settle until the ash has sunk and the liquid above is clear, and you carefully dip or pour off that clear liquid, which is your lye water. The brown liquid is the cleaner. The spent ash at the bottom goes to the garden. To judge its strength without any tool, dip in a feather or watch how it feels. A strong lye will feel slick and soapy between gloved fingers, almost slippery, which is the feel of the alkali, and the slicker it feels, the stronger it is. For everyday cleaning, you want it on the milder side, so if it feels very slick and strong, add more water to bring it down before you wash with it. For the heaviest grease, you leach it stronger. And whatever the strength, you wear your gloves, because that very slickness you feel is the lye beginning to work on the oils of your own skin, and left on too long it will irritate and burn. Make it, let it settle, pour off the clear, judge it by feel, dilute for daily work, glove up always. And let me give you a fuller list of the jobs it does, so you see how much of that store aisle it replaces. The damp ash scour cleans stove glass, oven glass, greasy pots and pans, burnt on food, stained sinks and tubs, grimy cooktops, and dull or tarnished metal and silver. The lye water cuts heavy grease on floors, workbenches, garage floors, hearths and barn surfaces, and strips baked grease from cast iron. Dry ash absorbs and deodorizes grease spills, oil drips, musty corners, bins, the outhouse and the compost. Fine ash polishes silver, brass, copper, glass, and steel, and the spent ash and the leftovers feed the garden soil. One free waste material, the ash from a fire you already burned, doing the work of a degreaser, a scouring powder, a glass cleaner, a metal polish, a silver polish, an odor absorber, an oil spill cleanup, and a soil amendment. That is what our ancestors knew, and that is the whole reason they let nothing of the fire go to waste. Now, I want to take a moment because this is the part that matters. Think about who profits from that cold gray ash you carry to the trash. Walk the cleaning aisle and count the bottles, the degreaser, the scouring powder, the stove glass cleaner, the metal polish, the silver polish, the odor absorber, the heavy-duty grease remover, bottle after bottle, each sold to do one job, each bought again and again, and every one of them doing something that the free ash from your own fire does as well or better. And soap itself, the foundation of all of it, was first made from nothing but ash and fat by people who bought none of it. There is no company that profits from a family that scours its pots and cleans its stove glass and cuts its grease with the waste from its own wood stove. The ash costs nothing, comes free with the fire you already burn, and would only be thrown away. And so the knowing of how to use it was let slip, not because it stopped working. It works exactly as it always did, but because a family that cleans with its own ashes walks past that whole aisle of bottles and buys none of them. Free does not sell. So here's what I want you to do this week, if you burn wood. The next time you clean out the stove, do not throw the cold ashes away. Sift a little fine ash into a tin. Then take a damp cloth, dip it in the ash, and clean the soot off your stove glass, and watch it come clear like magic. Scour a greasy pot with it, polish a tarnished bit of metal, and see for yourself what that free gray powder can do. If you have a heavy grease job, glove up, make a little lye water, and cut through it. Mind every word of the safety. Clean wood only, gloves for the lye, never on aluminum, cold ash and metal, and you will never look at a bucket of ashes the same way again. Tell me in the comments below, do you burn wood, and have you been throwing the ashes away all this time? And did your grandparents clean with ash or make their soap from it the old way? I read every single one of these, and the old ways you all share are the reason I keep doing this. And I will say it plainly once more, because this one matters. Handle the strong lie with care and respect, and keep it away from the little ones. Next time, I am going to show you how this very lye, the strong leached water from the ashes, becomes soap itself when it is joined with a bit of saved fat. The true old soap our ancestors made every spring for nothing. It is the natural next step after today. Until then, save your ashes. Use only clean wood, glove up for the lye, keep it off the aluminum, and remember the people who built this country with their hands, new things we are only just starting to remember.